Continuing our study of the Rudradhyaya, we'll go to Anuvaka number 10, mantra number 4. So Anuvaka number 10, mantra number 4 is Rudano Rudrotano Mayaskridhikshayadviraya Namasa Vidhemate Yachanchayoschavanuraya Jepita Tadashyama Tava Rudra Pranitau. A lovely mantra. So, Hey Rudra, O Rudra, no Mrida, make us happy. So, the Vedic word Mrida also corresponds to the classical Sanskrit word Muda. So, it comes from the root Mod, Modati or Mudati, Mud. That Moda means something that gives joy, something that gives us pleasure, something that gives us delight. So how do we get all the joy and delight? It is whenever we get the sukha, the comfort and the happiness, by getting what we want. Many a time you will get what you want, but it may turn out to be not so pleasant, isn't it? But here you ask for something and then you get that, and what you get gives you delight. Then only you can call it as muda or moda. So therefore here we are asking, Hey Rudra, no Mruda, Naha. Naha means for us. Mruda, you give us such joy of whatever we expect from what we have asked for and what you have granted us. So what kind of a prayer that we desire that will indeed turn out to be giving a sukha? Not every request can become a sukha. So what are these ishtartha sukha givers? It is good name, yashaha, knowledge, vidya, intellect, buddhi, wealth that is properly acquired and properly spent, shriyam, physical and mental strength, balam, long and productive, healthy life, ayushyam, and then being accepted and also honored and looked up to by the society. All this together is called tejaha. Then of course, happy and good health, arogyam. Good children who will always be better than us. Students who will always be better than us. One of the cardinal principles is that putradicchet parajayam, shishyadicchet parajayam. Always the mother and father should be doing tapas, my children will become better than me. And a guru should always be doing the tapas, that my students will become better than I am. So nothing gives a noble guru and a noble parent more joy than to see their own student and children better than them. What should be the joy of Parashara Maharshi in having Vedavyasa? And that now another beautiful thing, we must live to see such good children who are also getting the same qualities in the society. We must live to see. That's why we want arogyam and long life. That's why in the wedding and all that, we actually bless Pashyati Putram, Pashyati Pautram, Pashyati Prajaya Pashubhihi. All these sentiments are included in that blessing. Then, so therefore, Hey Rudra, no Mruda, Uta and. Uta in Vedic Sanskrit means and Naha for us, Mayaha Krithi, give us. Mayaha means moksha sukha. So you can see two things are asked for. That is one, all that is glorious in as long as we are alive, called iha sukha, and the glory of completely being liberated upon death, called moksha sukha. So iha, para, this worldly and otherworldly joy is asked for. So the next question that this mantra answers is, how do I deserve this how can I ask you even, sometimes when you ask, suppose you want to ask for a rise, and you go to your boss and ask for a rise. Can you ever go and ask double my salary? What will happen if you ask? Obviously, it's not just a no. It's little more than no. So therefore, what are we asking here? We are asking for everything glorious as long as we are alive. And we are also asking for moksha. Then how can you negotiate with this great boss Rudra asking for all these things? It is because now you have to prove that you deserve such a treatment. How do I deserve this treatment? Te namasa kshayat viraya vidhema. That is the anvaya or the rearrangement of the words. That is, te namasa, by my making the salutations to you using the Rudradhyaya, after fully understanding the meaning of every single word that I have chanted so far. We are in the 10th Anuvaka, remember. So in the 9 Anuvakas we have already used, actually in the 8 Anuvakas we have already used 300 epithets of Lord Shiva. Rudra Trishati starts from Namo Hiranya Bahve and then it ends at the end of 9th Anuvaka. So in all these 300 names we have used and offered our namaskara to you. And we have not used those 300 names in vain. This is a standard theology. You don't take God's name in vain. So you have taken God's name with total sincerity and said that I have lived like that, I have emulated your glory, and therefore by making salutations to you, every time I used one mantra after the other, I have washed off all my sins. All the papas are washed off. This is the reason why we repeat the Rudra mantras 11 times, 121 times, 1321 times, and then you do Maha Rudra, you do Ati Rudra. Is it because just we go on chanting by rote? Every single time you chant the Rudra mantras, the 11 Anuvakas, you must have a measurement, a metric to see how much of Papa I have got rid of. Otherwise, if you sit in the assembly and just chant for 1331 times and nothing happens, you get only tired. No transformation takes place. So here, if we can dare ask Ihasukha and Parasukha of Shiva, then we must confidently say, I have completely annulled all my sins. So we must hesitate to chant the 10th Anuvaka. Because we can only say, oh, I am incapable of that, but still I want all this. That's all you can say. I cannot say I deserve it. So now, the next question is, how can just chanting, recitation, meditation and worship of Shiva, how can it cleanse our sins? We do all kinds of things, and then you come back and you perform Rudrabhisheka, you chant the Rudra mantras, you use your all the skills, the skill of talking. I have access to the telephone, so I can call anybody and talk anything. So if I don't control myself, if I don't use all the skills I have, and then make sure that I use all my skills for Loka Kalyana only, then in that case only our sins will be removed, because yajna is that which cleanses our mind. So, how does yajna clear the mind? What part of our mind yajna cleanses? Yajna doesn't cleanse everything about us. It only removes the tamas. All worship, all yajna and ritualistic worship, chanting and japa removes only tamas. Still we have got rajas. But tamas, removing tamas is an extraordinary benefit, because tamas is grouped in the darkness of the 6 enemies, Arishadvargas. All the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, the 6 enemies are all termed as tamas. So once these 6 enemies, that is binding desire, kama, debilitating anger, krodha, miserliness, lobha, confusion, attachment, moha, arrogance, vanity, mada, jealousy, envy, matsarya. So these are the 6 major debilitating factors that will keep us far away from Shiva. So when we are able to chant, keep on chanting the mantras, knowing its meaning, that's why we are spending so much time in trying to understand the meaning of Rudradhyaya. This is what 45th or 46th talk we are doing on this subject, because it takes so much of effort to cleanse ourselves. And when we have done that, we get filled by the sattva guna. So when the sins are removed, a vacuum is created in your heart. And as we know, nature abhors vacuum. So what is it filled with? It is filled with sattva guna. Automatically it fills with sattva guna. Proof. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 30. Sarvepyete yajna vidaha yajna kshapita kalmashaha yajna shishtamrita bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. Meaning, cleansed of all sinful actions, the devotee enjoys the nectar of yajna. The nectar of yajna is all the pleasures of this world and advances towards Sanatanam Brahma, which is moksha. So you can see this mantra gets a commentary in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 30. The same understanding was given to us by a verse in Mukundamala Stotra by Kulashekara, where he is saying, O tongue, I am telling you forcefully, and I mean it. I beg of you to chant the names that reveal Lord Narayana. They bring you the greatest joy. The greatest joy is moksha. Original. Tattvam bruvāṇāni param parastat madhuksharantīva mudāvahāni pravartaya pranjalirasmi jihve namani Narayana gocharaṇi. Narayana gocharaṇi namani pravartaya. Meaning is, all these names are not ordinary epithets. Each one of the names is encapsulated with the Paratattva or the absolute reality. Every one of these names is actually is like a packet. You know, many of you who are in information technology know about this, how you send packets. So in this packet is embedded all of the information. What is that information? The information about the Parabrahman. So each one of the 300 names of Shiva that we chanted are all, each one of them is actually potent with the Parabrahman defined. So Kulashekara Muni in the Mukundamala Stotra, verse number 26, he says that Namani Narayana Gocharaṇi. So you can apply this here, Namani Parameshwara Gocharaṇi. So it is by chanting these names, Smita, your question, Nama Sankirtana. So this is the potency of Nama Sankirtana. That means it not only removes our ignorance and papas, but also inspires us to offer ourselves to the service of Ishvara, Mata, Pitru, Guru, fellow beings, and all the animal kingdom. Immediately there will be a transformation. You will become totally service oriented to every entity, and every entity you will see as mother and father. Mata cha Parvati Devi, Pita Devo Maheshwaraha, Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha, Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. You can completely internalize by means of opening the formula in each one of the namas that we have studied and finding that Paratattva. One more proof is from the Bhagavata. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvante atma prasadanim. Therefore, from time immemorial, the sages, the rishis have rendered bhakti and seva, devotion and service to Vasudeva with great delight. It is not a chore. To serve God is not a chore. To serve God is a matter of joy and delight. Because such devotion enlivens the joy of the self, the Atmananda. So then, who initiated all this? Who was the one who started this tradition? Who is the first rishi that actually discovered this? This mantra is going to tell us. It says, it is Manu, the firstborn, from whom all of us got the name Manuja, that Pita Manuhu. He is the one, the progenitor of the entire human race. Yat Sham, that which is giving happiness. Cha Yaha, that is freedom from all misery. Ayaje, he obtained. So I will combine all these three and then show you in the mantra. Yachan chayos chamanura yaje yat shamcha yaha cha manuhu ayaje. Yat, that which is shamcha, which gives you the sukha of the phenomenal life. Yaha cha, also the afterlife of the moksha. Manu, the firstborn, ayaje, attained. That I will also attain. So, how did Manu achieve this? The firstborn achieve this? Because of his great tapas, of his chanting the 300 names of Shiva, 1000 names of Vishnu. They are all same, all of them. I can give you a mapping of every single mantra that we have used in Rudradhyaya onto Vishnu Sahasranama. Or you take it as a homework. So this can be done. Which means that when you do that, He Rudra, Tava Pranitau Tat Asyama. Tava Pranitau Tat Asyama. He instituted the Varnashrama Dharma. He gave us the book of law, Dharma Shastra. He himself lived that standard he set for the entire posterity. And therefore he is the first man who achieved this state of happiness while living and also liberation after death. And therefore we being coming from same Manu, and therefore we are Manujas, we will also get that. That result he shows. So in short, how can we summarize? Rudra is the one who gives happiness both in our phenomenal life and also one who gives liberation afterwards. In other words, one who confers Iha Sukha and Paragati. Then secondly, only those who get rid of their sins by means of Nama Sankirtana on the one hand, Arthanusandhana on the other. That means chanting the names, Nama Sankirtana, and secondly, unraveling the meaning of each one of the mantras, only they will be able to remove all the sins. And those who have removed all their sins will be entitled for this grace of Ihasukha and Para, and one who is free from this sin automatically becomes a devotee. Now, constantly we have to ask ourselves, what is the depth of bhakti in Ishvara for me? proportionate to the amount of devotion you have for Ishvara, to that extent Ihasukha is there and Parasukha is there. Because what kind of a bhakta is he? He is a jnani bhakta. He is a bhakta who is also a learned person. This is what Ramanujacharya also says, Shemushi Bhakti Rupa. Bhakti which is laced with jnana is the best. And Gita Charya, verse number 16 and 17 of chapter 7 also says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam janas sukritinorjuna arto jijnasur artharthi jnani cha bharatarshava tesham jnani nityayukta ekabhaktihi vishishyate. And what is the beauty? For me, Krishna is my favorite, he is my beloved, and for Krishna, I am his beloved. So therefore, one who is a devotee of Rudra automatically becomes a man of virtue and character. He becomes a dharmishta, and then he attains an eternal peace. Proof. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranishyati. Very quickly, my devotee becomes a dharmatma. Dharmatma means a person who is totally noble. And that dharmatma, hey Arjuna, Kaunteya, pratijanihi, be convinced that my devotee never perishes. Name bhakta pranashyati. Point number 4. So there is a precedent also with Manu, who attained this highest with his own experience. So it is not like me, a teacher who is teaching with no experience whatsoever, but there Manu is the one who had this swanubhava, his own anubhava, and then communicated to the progeny. So what have we done in interpreting this mantra? We have proved all these truths based on Shruti, that is Veda, which is Rudra itself is the Veda, Shruti, Smriti, which is Gita, Purana, which is Bhagavata, Aptavakya, Kulashekara Muni's Mukundamala, and Shastra Manu. In all the 5 ways, we have proved that Namaskara with Bhakti cleanses our papa, gives us Iha and Para Sukha. That great soul who became a legend by his Shiva Bhakti, he purified and then completely became free from all bondage of karma. He actually overcomes the dominance of Yama, the Lord of Death himself. The great Markandeya is the Rishi of this mantra. So, Rishi of this mantra is Markandeya. If you can remember this mantra, Mrityum Tirtva Amritam Ashnute. Napka idea, el barte anta? Mrityum Tirtva Amritam Ashnute. This is from the Ishavasya Upanishad. So, Markandeya Maharshi is the Rishi, the Devata is Rudra, the Chandas is Jagati. I have already talked about the Chandas in the beginning. So, what use can we put in our dhyana, meditation and practice if you are disturbed mentally? If there is anything that is bothering you, for the sake of manashanti, that means peace of mind, you can do this japa as many number of times as possible. So they prescribe this japa. If somebody comes to you and say, I am very disturbed, so please help me, then you can give this mantra. But before giving this mantra, you must have chanted also. You must have actually practiced that anusandhana. then the deity Rudra has to be imagined like that, like this. Divya Simhasanasenam Stuyamanam Maharshibihi Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Somam Somardha Shekharam. So when you are doing the japa of this mantra, please visualize this form who is sitting on a very beautifully decked throne, Divya Simhasana Senam. And all the sages are offering their namaskara. Tuyamanam Maharshibihi. One who is having a very pleasant countenance. Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet. Who is also having his consort right next to him. Sa Umam. Uma is next to him. Soma Ardha Shekharam. Soma means Chandra. Ardha means a small digit who is having it on his head, decked by the crescent moon. So that scene, that picture, make it in yourself, and you can do the japa of this mantra, then you will get peace of mind.